What's up, everyone? This is Bob and Chris from Join or Die Podcast. Today is Sunday, October 6th, 2024, and we are in a world of hurt. All right. Before we go on today, we have a few topics we want to talk about. Definitely the vice presidential debate. We want to talk about what's going on in Israel and Iran and a possible World War III situation that some people are worried about. And we absolutely are going to touch on, probably for most of the episode, FEMA and what's going on with Hurricane Helene. Before that, I want to thank everyone out there, all you 28 beautiful Patriot subscribers that have joined the our podcast. A lot of it might be due to Chris's pretty viral video.
Yeah, 7,700 views so far. It's about a week old. Just showing some reload with the SIG TAC Ops E365. So I appreciate everybody tuning in, liking it, subscribing. So keep it going. I'm going to try to keep. Well, that's what some people like to see. So next time I'm up at the range or whatever, I'll try to do some tips or something. And let me know in the chat too. Like, what do you guys want to see? What would you like to see done with guns? I can do videos on, CQB or, just basic how-tos. Let me know and I'll try to get that stuff done.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a short that we put out. So check out the page, like, subscribe. Look at the short. He also did another one about like his everyday carry. And he compared the two, what was it, the Glock?
The Glock 43X, I got a TLR 6. I put lights on all my guns, so I'm used to having them on there when I was at work. Versus the new, the 360 mouthful, SIG Sauer P365 TAC Ops. It's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit heavier, but you're getting 17-in-1, better light on there. And I think the world, the way it's going, start training up, and, get comfortable with what you carry and, feed it whatever kind of ammo you're going to carry. Always go through, get an extra box of whatever you're carrying defense-wise, self-defense ammo, run it through your gun, make sure your gun, cooperates with that ammo.
If you're new to guns too, you definitely want to maybe check out some videos or instructions and work on how to clear a gun if it gets jammed.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing that a lot of people don't really go through unless they go through some kind of law enforcement training that requires it. But most people, I would argue that they just buy a gun, they go shoot it, and when it gets jammed, they're kind of just sitting there and shaking it.
They raise their hand or they call the instructor over. Listen, it's going to happen in real life.
You know what? Honestly, dude, that's another good short.
Probably, yeah. We do like the double feeds or just sometimes it's not even you. It can be the ammo, or it can just be, or it's not the gun. It's just maybe your thumb was hitting the slide stop. Something like that, and it becomes so rudimentary on how to clear these whatever malfunctions that you could just be shooting as soon as you can that quick identify what the problem is, go right through your malfunctions, and then go right back into it. So it's also a good reason why you want to carry an extra magazine, because sometimes it's easier just to rip that mag out, go right to another magazine, than be in the middle of, God forbid, whatever's happening and trying to I would say unfuck your weapon, unfuck it.
But yeah, you know what, dude? Executive decision. We're going to make a video like that. Maybe together or whatever. We'll figure out a day. We'll go to a range and we'll talk about it. Even if we can do a video just describing what double feeds are, or what other kind of jams you can get, and what can cause jams. And then actually just go up there and create the feed and show how.
Great, right? Yeah.
So that'll be in the future. But as of for today, we're going to start off with this vice presidential debate that went on. I don't know when this past Tuesday, or I think it was Tuesday. Yeah. Overall thoughts? I think I think all right. Overall thoughts for both candidates, way better than the presidential debate.
It was a relief, welcome relief. Where really it's like, all right, this is actually the way it used to be, like kind of in the 90s when people would debate or something like that. It was a little bit of relief. I'll actually say. People were, maybe it's me. People were saying, Walls got demolished. I'm like, I don't think he got demolished.
No, I don't think there was. He got demolition.
I think he got beat, but he actually came off. I don't fall for it. We don't fall for it. He came off more likable, moderate. He came off more moderate. He came off more likable. But just go to the videos where he had the Gestapo walking through Minnesota. Or paintballing or whatever.
We spoke about that.
Yeah, we
I think it might have been our first episode or something.
Yeah, we know what the guy's all about. These guys, you got to remember, these people are actors too. They know this is the psychopath in them. All right, They know how to flip personalities and how to act a certain way to appease people for whatever they're in search for. He came off likable, don't buy it. He also came out, a bit of a stooge when they were asking him, what was the question? He basically filibustered around for 2 minutes. Hong Kong or 10.
Oh yeah, he was in
Tiananmen
Square.
Square.
Yeah.
He gave it
He
2
completely
minutes.
filibustered.
No,
that,
and then
man.
then I didn't like the moderators or whatever. But they did turn around and say thank you. You didn't answer the question, and they actually. So I was actually glad they held his feet to the fire on that one.
By far, the best part was when they tried to fact check JD Vance, and he was like, "No," and then real quick, but we have to move on. And he was like, "No. We agreed you weren't going to do this, but since you did, here you go," and just completely shut her down. That was great.
Right.
That's something that Donald Trump, when he does. Listen, Donald Trump does not debate. He filibusters. Pretty much his whole debate is filibustering. And that, in my opinion,
well,
he doesn't really answer. Yeah, he doesn't really answer questions. He kind of just sticks to like the rhetoric that he says. And for all intents and purposes, the presidential debate, pretty much what Harris did too. I feel like this debate was just more substantive. Trying to think of it, I can't now.
Substance related, yeah.
Substance related.
Yeah.
Answers and questions. I thought it was a lot better.
It
was easier to watch.
Vance forced Walz to stick up or explain Harris's policy. And it's tough because you're almost acting like a lawyer. Now I have to defend my client, even though he's the running for vice president for her. He now has to defend where JD Vance, the only thing you're defending on Trump is his tweets or his language, which I don't really give a shit about. I mean, yeah, you can be a little bit more polished, no doubt, but at the end of the day, if we're talking about his policies, the majority of them worked well. Some didn't. Trump's biggest failure as a president, where he put the wrong people in charge of the wrong things.
Yes.
He put too much of the swamp in there because he was too trusting and he had too many people giving advice. Now, you look at who he's getting in there. Well, Vivek may be in there. Vance, Tulsi Gabbard, and RFK. It's a totally different,
But also the difference is Trump fired, whereas others just keep them in. The only people that you ever really see and that are like interchangeable in presidencies is the media. What's the name for Janine, what's her name? Pierre.
Oh, White House press secretary.
Yeah, the White House press secretary. A lot of times you'll see them change maybe once or twice.
Yeah, press secretaries usually they'll change a couple times. I mean, now Kamala Harris had a lot of people. She didn't fire anybody. People quit.
Oh yes, and
Trump didn't have a lot of people quit.
Nobody really talks about that.
Yeah, people in Harris's administration or cabinet or whatever you call it, they quit. So that says a lot. I mean, if you're firing people, maybe you're a bad boss firing people, or you're doing a bad job. I think if John Bolton gets fired or people I think that's firing. If people are quitting on you, that says a lot about
your character.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
and
looking at her,
who else had that issue? Oddly enough, was Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she.
And I've worked with enough Secret Service people, and we've had details that we always ask. We get detail with the CAT teams and counter assault teams, and when we work with them, we always talk to them about how's this president, They go through who the worst was and who the best was. They do like Trump. They say Trump's a bit of a wild card though, because it's like, all right, so we're going to do this, and he just kind of veers off.
Yeah.
But they like working for him because they like him as a person. He's respectful to them. Bush, they said, wasn't bad either, but the worst one, they always said, was Hillary Clinton.
Her detail was a punishment.
It was in unison. They said that she was absolutely the absolute worst human being to work for.
Well, there's a book. I cannot tell you who wrote this book. I can't remember. I feel like it was in the Secret Service. And it was called Crisis. Well, it is called Crisis of Character. I have it. And it was about that Secret Service member. And he was a part of the Secret Service during the Clinton era. and he was talking about, it's basically about how horrible the person Hillary Clinton
she's just
was.
this bad human
They,
being.
you know, just for like example, they would get into fights all the time behind closed doors. One time, like Bill came out of the door with like a beat up his head, and they were trying to like put all this makeup on him. So when he goes on the count, what happened? Well, my wife beat me up.
He may have been deserving.
He probably deserved it.
But I mean, whatever. But
He had his
I mean,
faults.
she's yeah. I mean, I'm not to veer too much off our topic. She's an awful human.
No,
being.
we're going to use this. We're gonna flow this right into our next somehow. So let's just keep talking, and then I'm going to find a way.
All right, go ahead.
No, keep talking
About how bad Hillary.
Yeah.
She's old.
All right, cool.
All right.
During the
During
so this isn't going to be a good segue. I lie. During the debate, they obviously asked questions about the Israel and Iran conflict, and how a lot of people are actually worried about how this might cause World War III. So there's our segue. We're going to
Well, we can actually segue by saying Hillary is responsible, when she was Secretary of State, of a lot of failed spreading democracy with Libya or Syria or whoever. And now, because we're once again involved in the Middle East, and this is always a tough subject when we're talking about Israel, because they are an ally. They are the only democracy over there. There are allies over there for the most part. But I ruffled some feathers, I think, before, when I said I don't think, I'm going to say it, but I'll say the same thing about my government. To this day, I mean, it's October 7th? October 6th. It's okay. So tomorrow's October 7th. We're 1 day away from the 1-year anniversary. And while this is not against the Israeli people, clearly, I don't absolve the Israeli government for October 7th. I still not gotten explanation of why a country that is geographically the size of New Jersey, and being in Pennsylvania, you can drive from one end of Jersey to the other in 3 hours. That's as a civilian. Why it took about 6 hours to have a response on a terrorist invasion in a country like Israel that has some of the best intelligence and camera system security. How did it take that long to happen? Was this used? Did Israel know this was going to happen and laid up and allow, kind of like the Butler PA thing with Trump, where the argument was, did the Secret Service or did the government plan this, or did they open a window long enough deliberately to allow something to happen?
That sounds like Benghazi.
Benghazi. I mean, you can do this with the United States, Vietnam, the Gulf of Tonkin. We can go on and on and on. Where did they actually plan it, or did they just sit back and go, let it happen? And this was their casus belli. This was their provoke. They were open that door to be provoked, and then say, it's like walking down the street, counting money in front of a drug dealer, and then when they come at you, you're just looking to shoot. It's like you could have avoided this. You just didn't do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Netanyahu, I mean, he's been wanting this war for a long, and I get it. Israel is surrounded by just awful, awful countries that want to wipe them off the map. That doesn't mean you sacrifice your own people to have the justification to go to war with countries I think that ruffles some feathers. I don't give a shit, because you have to. This isn't against the Israeli people. This isn't anti-Semitic. I feel bad for the Israeli people, because they're the ones who are dying. And
it's rarely
that's
the government,
of course,
that causes the issues.
Right?
When people talk out about countries like that, it's
right. We had
it's
Iraq.
The government. I was going to say, because when you were saying looking for justification for war, it reminded me a lot of Iraq.
Right. So
9/11 happened. Next thing you know, we're in Iraq.
I'm not picking on Israel. I'm picking on their government the same way I pick on my own government. And if it's my tax dollars going out there, I have a right to say what is happening. And by this is actually getting worse and worse and worse. Lebanon, and I mean, we're at a point where if Trump doesn't get in, there is going to be World War III. It's going to be World War III. Another part of me thinks that the United States is doing this with Ukraine and with Israel to make this shit show as worse as it can be. So if they lose, now Trump he's such a mess. And then they'll turn around and go, look, it's like they're going to blame him for everything.
Well, they do that.
They do it now, but they're definitely turn around and say, he's going to cause World War III after they just caused World War
Unfortunately,
III.
that's always when a president. And every time, like a Democrat president gets in, if something's wrong, they blame the prior administration. Most of the time, it's Republican. Democrat, they wouldn't. But and then the
Sometimes
same
it's
thing.
justifiable.
And then it's the same thing. If a Republican gets in and shit starts working and the economy starts getting better, oh, that's because it was so-and-so's policies that are now finally working on this,
right.
which is bullshit. Sometimes it could be, sometimes it does take a couple years for certain policies to actually show their effects. But give you an example. This is just my opinion. I think that if Donald Trump does win, I'm still sticking by my statement that I don't think they're going to let him win. But if he does win, right now, I'd say I have a gut feeling that gas prices in a month are going to be dropping.
Sure.
Like massively, because it goes off of futures. This guy is running off a drill, baby, drill. It goes off of futures. Now oil companies are going to realize, oh shit, we're going to have a lot more opportunities to drill and get the oil.
Watch your 401ks go up too. Because jobs are opening. Everything goes better with him getting in. But the question is, are they going to let him go back to Israel and Iran?
I mean,
no. I mean, because it doesn't just happen like, oh, it's Israel and Iran. It's like, well, how did we get here? And I had to bring that up because it's been bothering me. And like sometimes if you bring it up, people think like you're anti-Israel. I'm not. I'm pro-America. I feel bad for the Israeli people. You want to help them, but we'll probably get into this too. A lot of the money that we seem to be sending out, we always have money to send out to everybody else, but where's it for us?
Which is a great segue to Hurricane Helene.
Big rain covered.
Yeah. So basically, bring up a good point. The money that we send other countries, but when it's our government's turn to take care of our own right here, they don't do it. They actually give them a. So we're going to show you a slide of the amount of money that America has given other countries just in 2024 compared to the amount of money that they are giving survivors of Hurricane Helene the immediate funds that they need. And they really think that this money that they're giving them is going to do anything. So take a look at this slide, and we'll talk about it as we read the numbers through. So here you go. You can look at this chart right here. Like you said, up top, you see it says so far this year, the United States has given $24.4 billion to Ukraine, $11.3 billion to Israel, $1.95 billion to Ethiopia.
We couldn't afford the final letter.
$1.6 billion to Jordan, $1.4 to Egypt, $1.1 billion to Afghanistan, $1.1 billion to Somalia, $1 billion to Yemen.
Yeah, another country that hates us.
$987 million to Congo, $896 million to Syria, another one who hates us, $9,000 per illegal immigrant that has entered the U.S. Meanwhile, Americans who have lost everything to Hurricane Helene will be getting a whopping $750, courtesy of your FEMA. So,
what did people in Maui get?
I don't remember offhand, but it was around that number.
Yeah,
it was some crazy number. It might have even been 750. I don't even know if it was a couple thousand, but it might have been around the same.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, listening to Andy Frisell, and they went through this whatever financial. And this is just this year. So when you hear $24 billion to Ukraine, that's just this year. Yeah. That's not the prior 150 plus, 160 plus billion.
Yeah.
To Israel, I think we gave another 50 billion, whatever, last year. Now it's all. I mean, you start doing the math on this. It's insane. But the bottom line is, Americans lost everything in Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene was $750. You can't even. What's that? An apartment for a month?
No, it's not even an apartment.
If you had maybe for
a broken down apartment,
maybe a studio apartment,
$750.
What are you going to do with that? It's almost to the point.
It's a slap to the face.
It's so embarrassing. You could see when Harris was talking about it.
Her face. She looked like she was almost embarrassed to say this number.
at some point you can't even bullshit yourself. Where you sit there and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to actually say $750
while somebody's house is floating down Main Street in Asheville.
You know, here's the thing too. They should have been permission to go on a rant.
Permission granted.
Thank you. They should have been. You know this is coming. We knew that this hurricane was coming. This isn't the first hurricane we've had to deal with. But we've dealt with Andrew and Sandy and Katrina. Why weren't the Coast Guard? I think they use Jayhawks, which are similar to Blackhawks, and you can have the National Guard. Why aren't the National Guard readying up their Blackhawks, the Coast Guard readying up their Jayhawks, which is just a rescue version of a Blackhawk, which can see a good amount of people. This isn't like a Huey or an H-Star. Why aren't they readying them up so when the shit hits the fan and these people are stuck on their roofs, why aren't they having these people come down with the rescue baskets, the litter baskets, and rescuing these people who are stuck? These things there should be a fleet of helicopters, a fleet of them ready. As soon as this happens, you should look up in the sky. It should look like an invasion, where you're just seeing nothing but helicopters coming down and rescuing these people. Why did we not have that? Why is it $750? Why is Mayorkas, what did he say?
Oh, I'll tell you exactly what he said. Let me just take this off the screen, then we'll get back to what he said. All right, so what did Mayorkas say? So now I'm reading this. This is from a Daily Wire article. It says, take a look at what DHS Secretary Mayorkas was saying just 3 months ago. Mayorkas, as head of the DHS, oversees the Federal Disaster Relief Agency, FEMA. On June 21st, Mayorkas went in front of the cameras to boast that FEMA was tremendously prepared for the upcoming hurricane season. In fact, he doesn't say that FEMA is tremendously prepared for hurricanes. He says they're prepared for wildfires, extreme heat, and a variety of other disasters. We can handle all of it, he said. And this is what we do, he says. Now you fast forward to recently, and now he's talking about how they're out of money. They're not prepared for this. So this could explain. Again, this guy is lying.
Well,
again, he's lying.
Well, this dude's one of the most evil people. I'm trying to think who's really the. It's a competition on who's really the worst human being in this administration. Right now, he's just awful. He's the guy that somehow, I don't know why, Homeland. What is he, the Secretary of Homeland Security? Is that what he is?
Yeah, DHS.
Department of Homeland Security. Yeah. So for some reason, he oversees the Secret Service, which is the Treasury Department, which I don't know why he's in charge of. So you had two attempts on Trump's life. Mm-hmm. Okay. One actually almost succeeded. This nitwit's in charge of it. Then, along with all the amount, how much money was he given to migrants? What was it, like $9,000 to $20,000? Someone was saying $9,000 to $20,000 illegal immigrants were getting.
Well, it said from the numbers that we just put on that screen before this, it was $9,000 for illegal immigrants. Okay, so how many? What was it? 7 million, I think, came into the country. I think that's what it is compared to Trump. It was like 2 or something like that. But 7 million. Let's just say 7 million. That's what we have count of. Times 9,000? Yeah. Was that it? $63 billion. That's what we're looking at. $63 billion. And I think that's low end.
And a lot of that was out of FEMA money. That's coming at that, a good amount of it comes out of FEMA money. I don't think all $63 billion is, but I want to say it was well over $1 billion. Well over $1 billion.
I would have to double check, so I'm not going to. But
that's what they're saying.
A chunk of it came out of there, which could have been helping the people of North Carolina right now in Georgia. So if you divide I want to say it was 1.1 or $1.2 billion that was sent to illegal aliens from DHS. Mm-hmm. So if we divide this by, I don't know, how many people are in the state of, how many people do you think were affected by this? 100,000? 200,000? I don't know. That might be underestimated. But go with 100,000.
Well, I'll do 250,000. Okay. All right, that's still $4,800 a person. Mm-hmm. It's still not a lot. Okay, but $4,800 is at least better than $750. And do I think 4,800 is a lot? Do I think that's enough? No. But if you're not giving 1.2 billion or whatever the hell it is to these to illegal aliens, you could at least give these people some more. Here's the problem, and it's quite simple. You follow the money. Why have we given so much money to Ukraine? You think this country gives a shit about Ukraine? No. They are the most corrupt country in the world, with the exception of probably America. So when you have the two most corrupt countries in the world, what you're getting is laundering going on. This is the greatest laundering of money in world history that you're seeing with the United States and Ukraine. All right, Israel. I'm sure there's laundering going back because we're giving money to Israel from. This is where the big five for the war machine. All right, the military-industrial complex. All right, we're feeding back. Why are we giving it to Raytheon? Why are we giving it to Northrop Grumman and all these other companies? Because you have stockholders who are lobbyists for these politicians. So the money just it comes right back. So when you give money to all these other countries, it's because the money comes back to the United States. If you give money to North Carolinians, the money isn't coming back.
No.
So they can't make a dime off you. So just like the short I did about school shootings, and instead of sending money to Ukraine and Israel, when politicians are crying, well, what about our children? What about our children? And with the money that they've been sending to these countries, how many years of top shelf armed security guards you could have inside these schools? Just like when I was talking about that, I'm going to end it with the same thing. The government doesn't care about you. Not only do they not care about you, I think they absolutely friggin' hate you.
Yeah. They think you're stupid. They think that we don't catch on. And the problem is we do catch on, but when we bring stuff like this up, it doesn't get reported by mainstream media.
Because they're paid in part by the same people
Absolutely.
who are getting paid by the government.
Yeah.
A lot of these are pharmacies, right? So, look, they hate you. Just learn to get that through your head. The government, at least now, the government that we have now, they don't like. It's not that they don't like you; they hate you.
So when it comes voting time, remember when they're out there and they're saying, I'm for the working people, I'm for the middle class, I grew up in a middle class." Bullshit. Maybe they did. Maybe one of them did grow up in a middle class, but guess what? They are working in a part of the government now where they have become corrupt, because it's hard not to become corrupt when you get that high up. So keep all this in mind. When it comes to voting, keep in mind all the money that we're giving other countries, all the money or lack thereof that we're giving our own people who just lost everything. So and not even, what's the death toll? The last I saw it was 200 plus.
250 right now. It's still thousands.
I mean, they're finding people in trees.
It's going to hit four digits.
It's sickening.
It's going to hit 4 digits.
And $750 is what this current administration, of one of which the vice president of is running for president now, thinks that you guys are worth. $750 for people who lost everything.
Who went to a dinner while this is going on. Now, Trump went there, and I get it. There's only so much you can actually do. But it's good optics for the people who are suffering to know, hey, the president or the vice president's here. They're getting eyes on this so they can get a firsthand idea of what the problem is, where the money's going to need to go. But they're not even doing that. Why? Because they fucking hate you.
No, all they care right now is getting more power, getting back in the presidency.
They will take your tax money and you will see none of it back. $750. $750.
$750. Keep that number in mind when it's time to go and vote.
And for people who think who want to help Ukraine because they have a big heart or something like that, how much is Zelensky giving back to us and say, hey, you know what?
That's my other thing.
Why don't we give some money back?
How many countries have given us in relief for Hurricane Helene? We're giving all of this money.
Or any hurricane.
Yeah, or anything at all.
I can't stand that dude. That dude, and he'll sit there and come in with his friggin' sweatpants on and sit on the Senate floor and say, we need to give him more. I can't stand that fucking guy. I root for Putin right now. I do. Because for two reasons. I think we went over this last time. One, I don't want to back the biggest superpower of nuclear weapons into a corner. Two, Putin's not taking money from you. Is he taking money from you?
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't like the guy, but if I have to pick, I don't want to pick the guy who's not. I'd rather pick the guy who's not taking money from me and the guy who has the biggest nuclear weapon arsenal. I don't want to back that guy in a corner where he only has one option out.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it.
That's
Keep
it.
all that in mind. We're less than a month away from election time. It's going to get interesting, and we're going to keep bringing content to you. Again, thank you for the 28 subscribers. We're up 10 from last time. Awesome. Let's
Share
get
it.
that up more. Share this, comment, like it, and we'll see you next time. Be safe.